Chairman of the Republican Policy Committee, Mr. McCotter.
Gentleman from Michigan is recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I come from Michigan, a state that respects honesty, even when one is in error. So I must admit that I was pleasantly surprised by the integrity, if not the ultimate decision, that we heard from the gentleman from New Jersey. You know, we heard a lot about change over the course of a year or two, and I too must be honest. We have seen change in how Washington budgets. We have seen change. We have gone from bad to worse. Now, as I recall, sitting in Michigan, living there with my wife and children, I've seen a similar instance out of my state government, which in a one-state depression faced the choice of allowing working families to keep their money and protect their budgets, or raising taxes and protecting the state budget. They started with the smokers. They went after them. They took their money. Nobody likes smokers. Who cares? Then they did a one-time only property tax advance. They never did tell us when the property tax relief comes, but I'm sure one day it will. It's only once. And then they raised our income taxes. They raised our income taxes because by then it was for the greater good. And whose family budget wants to stay in the way of the greater good? Certainly not somebody like me. Somebody whose children are looking at college. Somebody whose mother may be getting older and may need care. Somebody who worries that their dreams of their future for their children might go up in ashes in a state that is mismanaged by a government that cares more about itself than it cares about the sovereign citizens who elected it. And then I come out here to do their work as their servant. And I see the same thing. I see the same thing. I hear the same talk. I see the change that was promised and delivered. Well, the sad part is the promise was implied. Remember hearing the government spent too much. Got to stop. Government spent too much. We're going to change that. I didn't hear the part where you said government spends too much. We're going to spend more. I heard people talk about working families struggling and that we're only going to tax the rich. We're only going to tax the rich. Evidently, we must not be doing too well. There's not enough rich to back up the promises. So what do? The largest tax increase in American history on everybody. Well, that's a change. I concede the point. 'Tis a change. But I was shocked again by both the honor and the erroneous conclusion of the gentleman from New Jersey. I never in my life expected to see a member of Congress apologize for not raising taxes on the American people. That is a change. I grant you that. My question is then, if the American people need to have their taxes raised to come into prosperity, surely you know what the ultimate number is. How high, how fast till we get to prosperity? How much more of my money has to go to the federal government until I can dream for my family and feed them?
Gentleman, additional minute.
Gentleman is recognized for an additional minute.
Surely somebody must know that number. Is this largest tax increase in American history going to be the last? Are we then going to reach the American dream? Are we going to have our liberty in economics to pursue that dream through our own works? Or will government have to do that for us? Are we going to get bureaucrats as life coaches? What is going to be necessary? Give me a number. Well, I haven't heard that number. I haven't heard that percent. I think the one thing that we do need to change immediately right now, other than rejecting this budget scheme to soak your family budget, to bloat the federal government's budget, is I want to hear somebody admit that America's economic prosperity comes from our free people, not from the growth of government. For that is a truth. The change to hear here would be a refreshing change of late. I yield back.
Gentleman's time has expired.